It's the midday, and yet this whole neighborhood is eerily quiet. Everyone seems to have retreated into their homes as if warned of something. You soon realize what? The reciprocating sound of a Thompson gun, emptying its drum. You get behind a car, putting the engine block between you and the sound. But it's muffled, coming from inside a building. You're in no danger, you think. So you allow yourself a peek above the black hull of the car. And running down the cobblestone street, a man in fine, blood-spattered clothes. He has his hands out, mouth open, screaming something. But you don't catch what he says. He's drowned out by gunfire, and his body slumps to the ground. The men responsible, 3 abreast in dark overcoats and wide hats, walk up to him to check on the body. The smallest of the 3 has a nervous energy about him.
People are gonna see us, boss.
People ain't gonna see nothing. Not on these streets.
I've met a lot of people like you on this road. There's something you want from it, isn't there? A desire that scratches and scrapes away at the sides of your body. Does being out here feed that part of you? It's that way for me, living in a state of motion, resting nowhere, returning to no one. I've been a wandering ghost for a while now, and I'll be that way for some time to come. But that's a fate I should have known I was in for. I'm a poet, after all, alone, out here. I spend too much time inside my own head. Can you tell me a hopeful story to lighten my mood? I like that one. Makes me feel the way Silas used to in the old days. Faith. You know the hardest person for anyone to have faith in? Is themselves. Sometimes I think there are things we know deep down are true, but we tell ourselves the opposite thing just to get away from having to face that truth. You ever done this? Sometimes you love someone and you tell yourself you don't. Sometimes you know something is right and you tell yourself it's wrong. You have to find some trust in yourself to understand it. Sometimes I want to hear a sadness that resonates with my own. You know any stories like that? That one was like getting locked out in the cold with nothing but your sorrow. I liked it. The past haunts me. Every day I think about how things used to be. There was a time when it felt like Silas and I were inseparable. My poems, his books, we were part of each other's ideas. Now, I don't know how to describe how much I've missed that voice. His voice. Imagine that. A poet at a loss for words. The one thing I thought I could do. Just gone. Sometimes I want to hear a sadness that resonates with my own. You know any stories like that? The tragedy in that story, it's real. Have you ever tried writing poetry? The space you give to love is the same space you open yourself up for potential harm. That's an old truism, and I'd read all about that kind of thing from an early age. So, it's not like it should have been a surprise to me. Still, I wasn't prepared for how much it all going sideways hurt me as much as it did. The way I felt about Silas wasn't like anything I could remember feeling before. The whiplash from that is why I'm out here by myself now. I need an optimistic story right now. Something to put a smile on my face. That's a good one. We do reach up like that, towards hope. I had a family. We were close. Me, and Jess, and Deborah, even Pauline. We had a shared goal in the world. When I think about any of them now, though, I can feel poison rising in my chest. They didn't do anything wrong. They're all still grand folks. It's just that the situation with Silas ruined my attitude towards them, too. Being jilted plays a mean trick on your capacity for love. Sometimes I want to hear a sadness that resonates with my own. Do you know any stories like that? Look, you can't just have a happy ending. I know sadness. These days, the melancholy just settles over me like a heavy bay fog. It makes its residence with me, and I accommodate it. I start to think, well, the world isn't made for being happy in, not for someone like me. My old friends have their happiness. Jess and Deborah, Pauline, Silas too, maybe. And good for them. It'd be wrong to begrudge someone their happiness, wouldn't it? No matter how jealous you are. I miss the old group. I really do. I still have that image in my head. Pauline's house, the poets, Jess, me. But on top of them all, there's Silas. In my memory, he looms, he haunts. You ever meet someone so far above everyone else? It's like they were from a different plane altogether. That was him. A divine presence among normal human beings. Silas was part of the group, but at the same time, he wasn't. He was better than any of us. Wiser, gentler, stronger. We all held him in respect. We were in awe of his power as a writer, in reverence for the beauty of his soul. I still love him. Look, I'm headed out this way. If you find yourself out there, maybe we'll meet again.
Stone to the waters of this land, and by
and Silo have seen better days. One big storm might bring the whole structure down. A man hollers, "Ken? Ken? I know you're here, boy." He sees you and lopes across the field toward you. "You seen a boy around? About 14? He sighs. "My boy is missing. I haven't seen him since last night." He swallows. "He ain't the type to run off, neither." The interior of the barn is dim, even with the great doors thrown open. You check the animal stalls, but find nothing. As you look up to the loft, you spot a gap in the roof. You climb the ladder and make your way across the roof. A trail of empty beer bottles leads you past a discarded shirt into the base of the silo. You climb up. There's a hole in the silo roof, a rupture where rotten wood gave way under something large. You maneuver your way along the edge, keeping your weight off the rotted panels. You poke your head inside. He's there, half submerged in the grain. The man's waiting at the bottom of the barn ladder. "Anything?" He chokes back a sob. "I told him not to go up there. I told him." There's something wrong about this lonely farmhouse. The cows have unusual rain over the porch, and the open door shows a cow lying in the empty parlor. The flower boxes are still well tended, though. There's outgoing mail in the box. The moment you step inside the fence, an old woman screams, "Hey! Hey! This is private property!" You can see a parlor set up in the basin under the porch. A flowery armchair, a rug, and a little lacquered table. "This is an inhabited home," the old lady barks. "The cows live upstairs and I live down here." "That's right," she shouts. "I'm a grown woman. I can live any way I please." She shuffles to her chest of drawers and digs out a packet of rock candy in wax paper, like a grandmother saves for her grandchildren. The plants grow and blossom as you watch. The man goes down the line, applying a few drops from a vial as he goes. As the liquid soaks in, each plant pushes up from the soil, unfolding and stretching for the sky. He turns to you. "It's quite something, isn't it? Soy here strangles the crops. People are starving. But even when the plants survive, they don't grow fast enough to fill people's bellies." He smiles. "My miracle formula will change that." He shakes his head. "I'm not giving up my secrets that easily. The state will pay a lot of money for this." He shakes the vial. He tears off a leaf. "Here, try some." It's just bitter at first, but as you swallow, the fibrous mass burns in your throat. You fight to hold it down, and your stomach knots tight when the plant matter hits it. You cough and hiccup. He waves a hand. "Well, yes, there are some kinks to work out, but people are starving. They can't be fussy. It won't be long before no one around here goes hungry again." waits by the ruined mill, in an overcoat 2 sizes too big.
Look! Look! Over here! Look at this!
She yells.
This only happens once every 10 years, for Christ's sake!
She grabs your hand, and you both look at the black gear rolling west to cover the sun. Steadily, the darkness draws across the sun until it is almost total. She clutches your hand tightly.
I've never seen this before. I've never seen this.
The sun, obscured, throbs and expands, raging against the night. The eclipse breaks. The sun surges forward, screaming, burning, writhing in torment. Your eyes burn too, as if in retaliation, as if your witness of the sun's humiliation constituted some great insult. You look at her. In the morning, migrants line the street in an obedient queue, heads down, stomachs grumbling. Every couple minutes, the line lurches forward like the yank of a chain. They're waiting to get into a warehouse. Time passes. Finally, you're ushered inside. A calf's been dumped on the dirt floor, its exposed flank picked apart to the bone. You eat for the day. Without warning, the dusk blue air colors with the pang of cheap tin and cotton candy. A voice beckons from an alley.
Hey, little mouse. Tell me your heart's desire.
At the first tug of noise from your lungs, that buttery voice transforms into a laugh.
Not like that, baby. Come closer. Come deeper.
Through the murk, you can almost make out a figure, tall as a coyote's story, twice as thin on truths. It wears a broad-brimmed hat low over glowing pinpoint eyes. It kisses you, that unholy thing, stinking of fire and caramel and rust. On the lips like it were a lover, almost shy.
Oh, baby. You should have told me someone had a prior claim.
It pats your cheek.
I wouldn't love your kind if you weren't liars.
Outside this restaurant, a middle-aged man in a suit and a full clown makeup is gobbling down a sandwich. He gulps hard. Tears start up at the corner of his eyes again.
I'm gonna work for a traveling show. No, that's the problem. That's not the point.
child murmurs softly. The woman blurts out a reply.
Don't call me that. Just don't.
When she realizes the impact of her words, her face crumples with regret. And she notices you.
Please, could you help? Have you heard about a missing child? Any reports of a girl like this?
She nods to the girl tucked under her arm. The girl gasps as if slapped and pleads with the woman.
Mother's playing this game. She says she doesn't know me.
There's no particular resemblance between them, but they could still be related. The woman blurts. The woman snarls.
Think I'll suddenly remember giving birth? Breastfeeding? Or do you just believe I'll learn to care?
Jagged sandstone rises above the lip of a hollow basin in the rock. A crowd is gathered in the foothills. Their excited whispers wash over you, echo off the ochre outcrops. You can almost pick out fragments of conversations. Up here, the acoustics resonate. You can hear perfectly. A woman fretting over her infant child. A man settling a gambling debt. And lingering, older voices. Those who lived here before the railroad, before the city. Their lives and hopes preserved in the strata, part of the land. Below, barely visible, a woman steps forward. The crowd parts for her. She opens her mouth and begins to sing, a smoky, vibrant alto. The sound resonates in the basin, and the mountains join her in a reverberating round. Even after she finishes, the soft strains of music linger.
I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land.
Howdy!
The salty old driver grins, showing off his remaining teeth.
Ever seen a horse before? Thought not, or you'd know about Scott here. Purebred spotted Appaloosa. Very rare. Scotty's great-granddaddy came to this country with El Conquistadors. My family's kept that bloodline pure ever since.
He wipes away a tear.
So, is there anything you'd like to say about my horse? Heck of an understatement. Go on, give Scotty a scratch behind his ears.
Hesitantly, you brush the horse's mane. He promptly jerks around and bites you. The driver's incensed.
Where'd you learn how to caress a horse?
Outside this restaurant, a middle-aged man in a suit and a full clown makeup is gobbling down a sandwich. He gulps hard. Tears start up at the corner of his eyes again.
I'm gonna work for a traveling show. No, that's the problem. That's not the point.
child murmurs softly. The woman blurts out a reply.
Don't call me that. Just don't.
When she realizes the impact of her words, her face crumples with regret. And she notices you.
Please, could you help? Have you heard about a missing child? Any reports of a girl like this?
She nods to the girl tucked under her arm. The girl gasps as if slapped and pleads with the woman.
Mother's playing this game. She says she doesn't know me.
There's no particular resemblance between them, but they could still be related. The woman blurts. The woman snarls.
Think I'll suddenly remember giving birth? Breastfeeding? Or do you just believe I'll learn to care?
Jagged sandstone rises above the lip of a hollow basin in the rock. A crowd is gathered in the foothills. Their excited whispers wash over you, echo off the ochre outcrops. You can almost pick out fragments of conversations. Up here, the acoustics resonate. You can hear perfectly. A woman fretting over her infant child. A man settling a gambling debt. And lingering, older voices. Those who lived here before the railroad, before the city. Their lives and hopes preserved in the strata, part of the land. Below, barely visible, a woman steps forward. The crowd parts for her. She opens her mouth and begins to sing, a smoky, vibrant alto. The sound resonates in the basin, and the mountains join her in a reverberating round. Even after she finishes, the soft strains of music linger.
Howdy!
The salty old driver grins, showing off his remaining teeth.
Ever seen a horse before? Thought not, or you'd know about Scott here. Purebred spotted Appaloosa. Very rare. Scotty's great-granddaddy came to this country with El Conquistadors. My family's kept that bloodline pure ever since.
He wipes away a tear.
So, is there anything you'd like to say about my horse? Heck of an understatement. Go on, give Scotty a scratch behind his ears.
Hesitantly, you brush the horse's mane. He promptly jerks around and bites you. The driver's incensed.
Where'd you learn how to caress a horse?
Howdy, stranger. You passing through? This here desert is my home. Tourists like you ought to be careful if you ain't used to the heat. I grew up on my Uncle Eddie's ranch, where I learned riding and cattle rustling. But it's government land now. Seems like all government land these days. Now I'm traveling around the ranches that are left. Some folks would call me a cowboy. Not many is used to, mind. But I've been training to ride and rope for almost half my life. Name's Raymond Edward Dawson, Ray for short. And this sleeping beauty over here is Poncho. But anyway, you know any sad stories, Amelia? Damn, amigo, that's sad as hell. I really felt that. Being a cowboy ain't just about the work. It's about the choices you make. You gotta do right by others, but you can't forget to do right by yourself, neither. You're no good to no one if you can't take care of yourself. But anyway, you know some funny stories, right? You're funny as hell, you know that? Joy? Well, nothing makes me happier than the desert. And that word, nothing, that's the key. Nothing in front or behind you for miles and miles. It's all yours, and not yours, all at the same time, you know? But anyway, amigo, what's the most exciting thing you've seen out here on the road? You live an exciting life, amigo. Freedom ain't like it used to be. The great American desert is the last part of America that's truly the land of the free, I reckon. I'm holding out hope it'll stay that way for a while, but every time I close my eyes, another piece gets snatched up by those fellers in D.C. So, you know any good jokes? You trying to scare me? It was love at first sight. First time I saw that sky on fire, sunset silhouetting the mountains. And when that sun finally fell, it was like someone spilled countless diamonds all over the sky. So, you know any good jokes? Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna tell that one next time I share a campfire. Faith. I don't got faith in nobody but myself and Poncho here. No God's gonna save you from that hot desert sun he himself put there. No government man's gonna help you if he ain't got nothing to gain. Anyway, Uncle Eddie always said it's rude to keep on gabbing about yourself. So I'm headed out. Going up this way, staying off the road. Maybe. I'll catch you later, amigo.
Stuck in a
jackrabbit flees across the desert, and the house cat follows. They're equals in speed and finesse, a miniature portrait of lion and gazelle. This drama of nature captivates, even though, if you're honest, the whole spectacle's mostly just adorable. The hare turns as it lands and carries the momentum forward. The house cat reacts too slow, skids past, putting distance between the two critters. The hare races past you. Are those? No. Couldn't be. This jackrabbit has antlers. Huh. Your mighty whoop fills the jackrabbit with determination. It turns and thrusts its antlers at the cat, little teeth bared like needles. The house cat hits the brakes and bolts the other direction, twice as fast as before. The railway was a fast route between two towns, but the oil which promised to make each town rich was never there. The track died fast. The citizens, like the bird, survive on pickings. The vulture gouges at a cow's jawbone. Your motion disturbs the bird, takes off with an air of disdain. The buffalo is long dead. There was no meat left. It lands again, not far across the track. The note tears as you pull it free. I can't wait longer.
Mary, I can't wait longer. Ran out of food, so had to hunt. I hate it. I said we'd leave for a new life, but not one like this. Guess you've changed your mind. If you still want to marry me, I'm going north. I love you.
The rider did not make it far. Some 200 yards across the track is a body on its back. It stinks. Marks in the dirt indicate someone tried to move it. The clothes at the front are bloody and torn where they've been pecked by birds. There's no obvious wound that hasn't been inflicted after death. When you roll it over with your foot, the killing blow is obvious. A shotgun blast to the back at short range.
Don't come to claim me for I have my
Fear your feet will sink into the dry emptiness of the Great Basin. Every step is a syncopated crack of dried ground and salt underfoot. Even the vultures avoid this wasteland. Was there a road you were supposed to be following? Your throat has gone numb. You're not sure you ever had a tongue. The lonely iron-colored rock rising from the ground is the first thing you've seen in days. The air around the stone shimmers drunkenly in the roasting heat, distorting a figure standing before it. A rider, white from the tip of his hat to the slender legs of his horse. The buttons on his coat glint silver in the sun. Dust doesn't cling to his pressed white trousers. You're tired of ghouls and very near done with psychopomps. Some croaking noises clatter out of your mouth as you beg for water. But he doesn't hear you. He's not here for you. Ahead, on what passes for a trail, another horseman, face down on the ground, ragged and empty. His horse dead a few steps before the spot where he was pitched into the sand. Motor's running, but nobody's driving. Flies buzz the windshield. Beyond the van is a driveway, paved through cut green grass to the top of the hill. It's a newer model. You don't recognize it. Inside, you see food wrappers, bottles of beer, and half a discarded cheeseburger. In lipstick, the word Piggies. You glance back and forth between the message and your own reflection in the windshield, and on the latter glance, you see a large figure hovering behind you. You awake, face down in the crisp green grass, the back of your neck tender with sunburn, your head still tender from the blow.
Ya Hatadhin Halani. Good evening, Shikis, my friend. Come, let me show you how to sprinkle corn pollen. First, reach into the medicine pouch and pinch the tahadinhi. Then sprinkle it on top of your forehead to ask for wisdom. Touch the tahadinhi to your tongue to bless your voice, and sprinkle the remainder to bless and guide the path before you. With beauty may I walk. With beauty before me may I walk. With beauty behind me may I walk. With beauty above me may I walk. With beauty all around me may I walk. Shikis, my friend, can you tell me a story that brings strength to those who hear it? That was a good story. It pleases me to hear about people taking strength from each other, or from the land, or from themselves. In our creation stories, our people, the Din, emerge into the glittering world through mud and water. Everywhere they looked, there was water, and everything glittered around them. This was before first man and first woman created the sun, moon, and the stars. Chickas, my friend, tell me a funny story. I am sure you hear many on the road. That one made me smile. He told it well. One must not lose faith, Chickies. Whenever you are within the circumference of the 4 sacred mountains, oh, you are protected. Chickies, my friend, can you tell me a story that looks to the future with hope? The Dingbe are like that too, strong in the face of adversity. That story brings me hope. What brings joy? There's no greater form of generosity than that provided by the mother and father. The mother who nurtures corn and fertility in her soil, and the father who supplies the rain and sunshine in the sky. Chickies, my friend, can you tell me a story that brings strength to those who hear it? Our past? Looking back at the pain that my people have suffered since the Bilagana, white people, invaded our homeland, Din Nebikeya has only brought negative thoughts that can create sickness. Chickies, my friend, can you tell me a story that looks to the future with hope? I didn't know what true freedom was until our people gradually returned to our ancestral lands. To be grateful for such a thing is something no person should ever have to conceptualize in this life. The sun is rising. I must leave soon. Tomorrow's journey is this way. Another night done. But think, what does one take with them after a day in this world? Some nights I lay staring at the hole atop the hookah, where the chimney peers out into the night sky. I watch the stars slowly move. Sometimes a streak of light and whispers from ancestors. Always a feeling of gratitude for what surrounds me in this world. What are you thankful for? Where do you come from? Where are you going?
He's parked his car by the side of the road. A luxurious black thing, waxed so that it mirrors the stars in the sky overhead. The desert dust doesn't seem to stick to it. You find the driver, alone, retrieving something from the trunk.
What's it look like I'm doing?
He asks, as though it's obvious. He doesn't sound like the Okies driving on the road west. He has the cold tones of an educated New Englander. The pointed feet of a tripod dig into the coarse sand, hoisting his telescope heavenward.
Not the stars, friend.
His tone is outwardly irritated, but unable to mask his glee at correcting your misapprehension.
Looking for a planet. There's a ninth one, orbiting far beyond Neptune. Nothing yet, but we all know it's out there, waiting for someone to prove it exists. Once you can prove something exists, you get to name it. Can you imagine naming a thing that every generation hence for all time will remember you for?
The strains of ragtime rise from an almost tuned piano. At the bar, an older woman, dark-haired and striking, toys with her cigarette holder.
Hope you don't need lodging.
The bartender tells you as you sit.
The hotel's haunted.
At that, the woman chuckles. The bartender leans in.
This was a long time ago. Woman lived on the 5th floor. Real fancy lady. They say she was...
He breaks off, glances over at the smoking woman.
I shouldn't say in mixed company.
The lady laughs.
Oh, go on. Well, she had a lot of boyfriends.
The bartender hedges.
One of them was real jealous. He murdered her in a jealous rage, and her ghost still haunts that room. There's a maid who saw the ghost with her own eyes.
Rising up behind the hoofbeats of 12 horsemen, their course locked on the mine. White rider.
Beside this lonely campfire, a familiar, magnificent black horse rears at your presence. A familiar old Stetson-hatted cowboy calms him.
Easy, boy,
Bill says. He turns his attention to you.
Sorry. He startles around strangers. I guess he's like me. You want to give him an apple?
The horse snorts as you approach. Easy, easy, Bill says again, his voice low and soothing. The horse eyes you warily, but lowers its head to your palm and begins to eat. The cowboy nods as he lifts a tin pot from the flames.
You want a cup of coffee, stranger? Don't get company much, but I try to be hospitable. West's changed. Folks still need each other.
A rattlesnake unwinds from his neck and slithers down his arm.
Oh, don't worry, he won't bite. There's no animal I can't tame.
People, though. He trails off, stares into the fire. The handsome two-story adobe house sits at the corner of two main thoroughfares, a for sale sign tucked into one of its windows. An older man in a shabby suit rushes up to you.
Don't go in there,
he shouts, waving his arms frantically.
That house is haunted.
The man droops.
Well, cursed. My former student built it. I taught him everything about how Santa Fe has its own climate, its own culture. My architecture exists in harmony with nature. And then he started his own business and took all my best clients.
He snorts.
More like a son than a pupil.
Or so I thought. I taught him how to work with Adobe. I even introduced him to his wife. This is how he repays me? As though our history meant nothing?
White Rider, well, day will come, we all will join that line. White Rider, White Rider.
Voy a rayar mi nombre en los huesos.
They've taken over a booth at the roadside diner. Tables strewn with papers and forms. He's in shirt sleeves, revolver hanging loosely off his chest. She's in a moss-green dress from 2 seasons ago, and a felt hat that's begun to warp. You slip into the booth next to him.
Tell me again where you saw him last?
He asks.
He was in the car with me. We were just driving down the road.
So where did you stop the car? He asks. She sounds exasperated.
I told you. I never did.
They have the same accent, same drawl from somewhere in North Texas or Oklahoma. But his is subtler, although he's been trying to shake it for a few years. You try not to disturb them, but in truth, they barely know you're there.
We were going 40 miles an hour when he vanished. All I saw were those damned lights.
In the lingering, baffled silence that follows, you find your cue to leave.
No tengo amigo más que el viento y el mar.
Slowly, he turns. His eyes don't quite make it to yours. His whole body keels back over the wooden railing where he perched and down into the dusty road outside the saloon. Kneeling by his side, you offer platitudes you know are no good. His hand takes yours, and into your palm he presses 2 silver coins, slick with blood. You carefully lay the coins over both closed eyes.
Llegarán fuera de aquí, porque cuando caiga la noche.
You reckon he can make the time? The old-timer elbows you as you try to get a look from the edge of the pen. Thick dust kicking up from the bronco's hooves. The cowboy's body swings like a reed being whipped in the air. He doesn't fall quite yet.
I've been watching this for years.
You can hear him masticate something inside his leathery jaw. Tobacco, probably.
Never know till it's over.
After an agonizing minute, where you're sure the skinny cowboy is going to snap in half under the force, time is called.
Son of a bitch,
You hear the old-timer say.
Damn boy did it.
It was 3 days ride from Tulsa en route to Santa Fe. And there beneath the
Little remains of the Alamo. Just a chapel and some barracks. The inside of the chapel seems off, like a space that is both ruin and restored relic, unsure if it should crumble or sparkle. The rumbling of cars outside is undeterred by the shaky adobe walls. You come across a well, a squat square made of stone, hidden beneath a large, crooked oak tree. And on it sits a dejected man, eyes downcast, face hidden by a broad-brimmed hat, and clothes so thickly coated with dust that you can't make out their style or color. He looks up at you, and you get a better look at his face, sun-beaten, several days unshaven, and body. Though he smells strongly of black powder, a single sharp hole punctures his torso. From there, blood oozes down, and smoke wafts up. No, it's too late for me. He bats your hand away. His is clammy and cold, even in the hot, dry air. It's a long time before he musters the strength to say anything more. I marched out here following some rich man, New Orleans. He makes a hollow noise like he's trying to laugh, but has forgotten how. For this. A heavily worn boot scratches a line in the dusty ground. For land. For the dirt of this place. I was promised. But instead of speaking, he just slumps forward, bent like a reed. A Chevy sedan laden with suitcases chugs to a stop. You grip the wheel tight as sounds of chaos fill the car. The younger child begins to cry.
It's come to saddle up and ride.
The steady spin of the lasso is hypnotic.
Help me out here,
says the man.
I've been hunting this horse a long time. Extra pair of hands will make sure she doesn't get the better of me. She belonged to someone who wronged me. Butch slipped out of this world before I could square things between us, but damn did he love this horse.
He flicks the lasso, roping her neatly with his first throw. He presses the end of the rope into your hands and runs for the horse, slipping smoothly onto her back before she's realized what's happening. You keep her from throwing him off, and through your combined efforts, she starts to settle down.
Thanks, friend.
Shame, really. She's a good horse.
I gotta send Butch's crew a message.
The snake flicks its tongue.
That's close enough.
It is coiled atop a carved stone marked with faded flecks of paint. The snake laughs, its whole body convulsing.
It's very special. A good luck charm.
It tilts its head.
I'm supposed supposed to guard it, but I'm hungry. If you bring me some meat, you may have it.
The heat has made a family of mice slow and easy to catch. You drop them before the snake, and it gulps them down without chewing. It slithers back, exposing the object.
Take it,
it hisses.
I won't bite. Trust me.
You reach for the idol. The snake quivers as your hand gets close, but it stays put. It flicks its tongue.
Don't be disturbed by how it looks. It'll bring you luck.
The snake slithers off into the long grass. It's an idol, about the size of your clenched fist, carved into the shape of a human head. It's an ugly thing. The side that was pressed into the dirt is a face contorted in grotesque agony. Good things sometimes wear foul guises. Who are you to judge? You stow the idol, trying to ignore its unusual weight. You stride beneath a waning crescent moon that hangs low above the horizon. The sky is clear but for a few wisps of clouds, and there's just enough light to guide your way. Continuing past the empty fields and small ponds, you hear the telltale cadence of a horse. Looking around for the source of the noise, one of those clouds begins to obscure the moon. As if perfectly choreographed, you see the horse and its rider emerging from the encroaching of shadow. They pull around so as to stop just on the boundary between light and dark. Lovely night. Ha ha ha! I knew you'd understand, friend. The rider cheers, slapping his thigh for good measure. I just adore nights such as this. Looking up at all the stars, knowing about all those miles between them, makes the distance I've got to go seem manageable. Most folks look at the void above and try to fill it with gods, trace shapes to bridge the distance between the lights. I heard tale of tribes way down south that outline the dark parts of the sky for their constellations. The horse seems to smile in approval, while the rider continues his soliloquy. Anyway, friend, I'd best be getting on. Have a good one. The horse and rider bow gracefully as one. Then they turn and move on through the darkness, beyond your ability to see. You awake the next day at dawn, just in time to see the sunrise. It's blindingly bright, but also just about the most exquisite sunrise you've ever seen. The wind nearly tears the farmhouse door off its frame. Somebody left this place quick. Didn't take much with them. Just out front, an iron pot hangs over a stamped-out campfire. Under the lid, game and potatoes in a congealed broth. Nobody lived long going around eating strange food. You climb onto a cotton mattress loaded down with warm quilts, elevated by a wood bed frame. As you drift off, the wind pulls the door open. A faint sound. Some wild animal? The same sound, repeated. A word. Talipo. Talipo. The open door frames the partial silhouette of a ragged creature. Inside your head, somebody else's words ring out in your own voice. You trip over your own feet and hit the floor. You wake up in a pile of debris. Wilt out of every car window, smoking cigarettes and jeering at the quiet crowd gathered outside the train. Passenger leans out of a stairwell.
This ain't the station, traveler. This train won't take you nowhere anyhow. Guy fell out of the car into the wheels. Folks talking murder, but I've had my heart broken. Probably some drunk took a tumble. Just a little. Used to think rail travel had it all. Damsels tied to tracks, murder mysteries, armed robberies, adventure. Yeah, well, life ain't like the pictures.
Of a low-lit, smoky bar, young man is recounting a story to a woman whose dark pin curls bob with every fascinated nod of her head. He nonchalantly waves the .38 special he's holding.
From the bank.
Is pitched high enough for half the bar to hear. The bartender rolls her eyes. For no one seems particularly bothered by the storyteller or his weapon.
I don't think of it as stealing, just righting a wrong. The bank took Dad's money and we're going to take his land. Now he can pay him and stay where he is for as long as he wants.
The woman's curls bounce as she shakes her head. A half-hearted protest undercut by her laughter. It's long past dawn, but the stray rooster crows repeatedly. Satisfied with its vocal performance, the bird rushes you, flapping. It backs up and repeats the gesture. The rooster is like a tiny feathered goat making a threat display. It struts. It eyes your legs. The rooster launches itself into the air, going for your eyes. As you step back, it returns to gouging your shins with its beak.
God, don't mind old Red. He's better than a guard dog, but harder to train.
Red rushes at your feet.
Sorry. I can hold him while you get past if you...
As you step onto the man's front porch, the volume of Red's crows increases. The tea the man gives you is too sweet, but it's soothing. There is an ominous clucking just as you prepare to leave.
Is Daddy still sleeping?
The man, in faded overalls, is curled up over. You carefully lift the body out of the car. He nods.
entre el suelo, porque cuando la calaca regrese a mi valor, habrá mucho por allá, dejado allá. Pues cuando mi llama llegue hasta abajo, ya mi tren se la acabe guiar. No va a haber nadie más quien cabe mi hoyo. Pues yo no tengo amigos más que el viento y el mar. Y cuando esté frío y falta, estos son los que me enterrarán, que me entierran. Voy a rayar mi nombre en los huesos.
Buen día le dé Dios, stranger. Come, sit with me a little. To rest is a simple remedy, pero es importante. And the first step en la curación. Everyone needs healing. It has always been this way. Sometimes it's a toothache, and sometimes more. Resting the mind is difícil. Walking or sitting, running or sleeping. Always the mind is working, pensando. Do you have any frightening stories? Have you seen the work of las brujas on your travels? What a story. Mira mis manos. They are shaking. Sadness? Claro que sí. I am an old woman. No. My husband. Que Dios lo tenga en la gloria. He died not too long ago of old age. It is sad for me. But there are more sad things at the end of a good life. But now, do you have a story about hope? About happiness and the goodness in the world? Tu vida es faith? Yes. Everyone believes in something different, even un poco diferente than everyone else. It is the way of the mind. I must trust a person's faith leads them to be honorable. Until they prove me wrong. Oh, please, tell me a story sobre la esperanza and all the good in this world. Do everything with love, especialmente when it is hard. Also, you must listen to who or what you love, or you will not understand and will cause harm. But now, do you have a story about hope? Mi corazón. That was a good story. My place? Well, as a healer, I must be both like a farmer and a vaquero. The plants that make las curaciones are best when wild. So I must be wild and free like a vaquero, but attuned to the land también. Oh, please, tell me a story sobre la esperanza and all the good in this world. What a good story. Esperanza. It is the most important, I think. Joy? My favorite time of year is late summer. In August. That's the time to gather the plants for las curaciones. To be one with la tierra. To honor it. There is great joy in being alone on the llano. Or when I go to the mountains. You're kind to listen to una vieja talk of nada. I have learned mucho en mi vida. Now, I wish to share more than ever. Perhaps you want to hear this old woman talk again? I hope so. The road takes me this way. If your journey takes you there, look for me.
Clavaré mis tacones entre el suelo, porque cuando la calaca regrese a mi valor, habrá mucho por allá, hallado. Pues voy a cargar mi pala en mi espalda agotada. Voy a guardar mi ruego entre mis suelas. Pues cuando mi llama llegue hasta abajo y a mi tren se le acabe,
They sheepishly, how else, approach the edge of the water and lap at it, a moving cloud stalking the plain on stocky legs. It's a huge flock, and for a long time you see no shepherd, until a figure on a horse crests over a ridge in the hilly terrain. He rides a white horse. No, a pale horse. No, actually, a horse the sickly green color of an ashen corpse. And he's a gaunt figure clothed in a ragged cloak. But in spite of that, he seems in good spirits.
Aren't they beautiful? My flock. Bigger than it has been in centuries.
He stalks through the mass of beasts, their soft bodies instinctively giving way to the spindly legs of his mount.
Oh, there it goes.
He points with one emaciated toe at a black ram moving through the flock.
The soul of an evil man.
You notice you can't see the horizon. Just a diffuse line where sky meets the rolling tide of woolen animals.
Yes, this has been a good century. But I have an inkling it's about to get even better.
It was 3 days ride from Tulsa and route to Santa Fe. And there beneath the blazing sun my horse began to sway. Was then I heard the thunder sound come rising up behind. The hoofbeats of 12 horsemen, their course locked on the mine. White rider, ain't fixin' for to join your faded line. White rider, don't come to claim me for I had my time. It's 4 days ride from Tulsa, the rider's still in tow.
An excitable man in dirty suspenders waves you over to a cave mouth.
Partner, do me a favor, friend. Can you, inspect that cave there? Got 2 bits with your name on them.
The cave interior is nice and cool. There's a whole bear hide, treated and tanned, lying on the ground. It'll be a good spot to rest for a time, if not for the human skeleton. Back of the skull has a hole about the size of a quarter. You find a slip of journal paper inside the mouth. Normal bones, which Floyd the respectable prospector ain't touched nor seen much, merely stumbled upon during honest business. The man jumps out of his suspenders when he notices your return.
Friend! Oh, gave me an awful scare, making me think you got lost in there. Hey, you see those bones? How do you think that fella croaked?
The man cups your hands and screams in rapture.
My sly friend, you didn't tell me you're a detective. I'd have never deduced that in a million years. Lord in heaven, I'm blessed. Blessed!
It's a shiny silver coin. Great. There's a rustling in this cactus patch. Down where the spiny paddles disappear into the sand, something is writhing around. Oh, fuck. That shrunken human skull whips around to stare at you. And those hands, God, like talons. Before you know it, you're flat on your ass 20 feet away. The nude, withered corpse continues peeling himself out of his shallow grave. You watch him fight his way out of the earth. Light and papery hands, thwapping helplessly against the sand. Soon he's free, but too fragile to stand.
I've been cursed 2 times. Once to live forever, but the second time to die. How'd you think the 2 magics fought it out, huh? I'm dead for sure, and certainly alive. Keep trying to kill myself? Tried getting shot.
He points to the ragged constellation of holes in the side of his head.
Paid someone to chop my head off, but he chickened out. Thanks.
He shrugs, an uneven jerk, ending with a crack as the tight skin along his shoulders splits.
Damn. Well, take a hint from me, which is, don't fuck with a witch or any kind of anybody who does witch stuff.